Steve Leach. I'm the Community Police Officer for Kirkbymoorside. I've been in post this time since March this year. Up until about 3 years ago I used to be the Community Officer for Kirkby for about 5 years. Circumstances have changed now and I'm now responsible for Kirkby and Helmsley. So my time is shared between the two. Tracy PCSO as my assistant, and if I'm not available sometimes Tracy will assist.
Hi Tracy.
Hi.
And then we try and work with the town council and we go to the CAP meetings to find out what problems people perceive to be in Kirkby. Certainly at the last CAP meeting, in fact there wasn't any last CAP meeting, the one before there was complaints of speeding. That we've been out this morning on Gillamore Road. Upset a few motorists with some £60 tickets, but if they want to be travelling at excessive speeds, then what they're going to have to expect.
People consider Kirkbymoorside to be a really safe place to live. Would you agree with that?
Yes, as you say, when you look at the crime figures, population-wise, it is low. The unfortunate thing for us is because it's so low, we've only got to have a couple of crimes committed, and our crime figures shoot through the roof because it's all done on percentages. So if you're only getting 20 crimes and you get a couple of crimes, it shoots up by 10%. But relatively low. A lot of it could be prevented even more with people taking responsibility for the property. Yesterday we went to theft from an unattended motor vehicle. Somebody left his mobile phone in the car overnight. In fact, it's been there since Friday, and the car's insecure. And surprise, surprise, somebody's helped himself to it, as if people have to lock the stuff up. The amount of people that still do not lock the doors when they're in the house or even when they go out, you wouldn't believe. The other week, another TUMV, somebody has put her purses in the boot of the car that she knows doesn't lock. When she's come back, she's noticed the purses have gone. She's left the PIN number with the purses and somebody's made 2 withdrawals from the cash machine. And it's just down to people not looking after the property themselves.
So that low level of crime means that people are often quite complacent.
Too complacent
about it.
Because we keep telling them they live in a low crime area. They think that they're in a no crime area, but they're not. They're in a low crime area. We could make it a no crime area if people were to be a little bit more vigilant.
If you were talking to local residents about issues in the town regarding policing, what do you think would be the kind of things that they would typically raise?
People will always raise the fear of crime and antisocial behaviour and fighting, violence.
Is that an issue in Kirkby?
It's not an issue. There have been incidents of violence, but as I mentioned at the last CAP meeting, the majority of the incidents of violence that we've had have either been domestic related or it's been people that are known to each other. The amount of incidents that we have of violence where somebody is attacked by somebody that they've never met are just about non-existent. It's normally somebody that's fallen out with somebody else over something, or as I say, domestic.
And antisocial behaviour on a Friday, Saturday night, pubs in the town, that kind of thing, what?
It's going down because we've only got one pub left. We've got a couple of hotels still, but one of the main pubs is shut. We used to suffer a lot with damage to motor vehicles. On a Friday, Saturday night, wing mirrors and indicator covers used to get smashed or broken. Touch wood, that seems to have dropped off a little bit. We had a spate of antisocial, noisy parties and complaints from residents on West End over the last 3 or 4 months. And we had a lad that was living in rented accommodation that the council were paying for. So we went and spoke to the landlord, who actually served him eviction notices, and he's moved on to Pickering. So hopefully the people in West End's style of life now will improve.
And what about the issue of speeding in town? There is a movement that people are getting interested in terms of having a 20-mile-an-hour zone in all built-up areas. Do you think that would work in Kirkby? Or do you think it's needed in Kirkby?
20 mile an hour might slow them down to 25, 30. when you've got a 30 mile an hour, you get a lot of people doing 35 up to 40. So we've been up Gillamore Road this morning doing speed enforcement, and I think we had one at 40, one at 41 and one at 45 in the space of half an hour. I've noticed it has actually reduced. I used to do a lot on the A170 at Old Road, and that used to be like shelling peas at one time, but certainly in the last couple of months it has improved, and very few tickets have actually been issued by myself down there.
And what about finally sort of community involvement in policing? Do you think that's good around here, Neighbourhood Watch, and people contacting you when they see things happening?
Yes, we've got a good Neighbourhood Watch scheme, and Mr Atkinson up on Codehead Orchard is the Neighbourhood Watch coordinator. So each area where we've got a Neighbourhood Watch scheme have a coordinator, and then Harry is now taken on board to actually be the go-between for all of them to arrange meetings so that they can get together every now and then and discuss what's happening and to coordinate.
But there are opportunities for people to join the Neighbourhood Watch if they want to.
There is always opportunities for people to join. The biggest problem is getting people prepared to be a coordinator. And basically a coordinator can be anything from 5 or 6 houses to maybe 20 houses. A lot of people are under the misconception that the coordinator is for Kirkbymoorside, but it's not. What we try and do is break it down into streets, or even half a street if it's a big street, and the coordinator would be responsible for maybe 10, 12 houses. We have a ringmaster system where if we see somebody sees something suspicious, they report it to us. We put it out on the ringmaster, and it goes to all the Neighbourhood Watch coordinators, and then their role is to relay that message down to the people on their area. So if you've got 10, 12 houses, you go and let 12 people know. If one of their people sees something suspicious, what they're supposed to do is to ring us direct, not go to the coordinator, but ring us direct, so that we can then put the message out to the other coordinators. And then they can always speak to the coordinator as well, and then they can pass it on amongst his area. But some people think that we've got to ring the coordinator and get him to ring it. If he's not available, it's time lost.
So if somebody wants to become a coordinator and take on that responsibility, who would they contact?
They can contact myself, or they can contact Harry Atkinson, by myself again, or Steve Laws at Pickering Police Station. He's a volunteer worker at Pickering Police Station, and he actually runs the Neighbourhood Watch coordinator system for Northern Rydale. So he actually looks after Harry Atkinson. So yeah, if they wanted to, the best thing is to contact Pickering Police Station, and then either I can go out and speak to them and explain to them what's involved, perhaps go around the houses in that area and try and get sort of what response, how many people are interested, and set it up. But I don't know if people are aware, but the majority of insurance companies will actually give you a discount if you're in a Neighbourhood Watch scheme.
And finally, Steve, let's ask you about the question of young people in the town. Often policing and young people go hand in hand. What do you think about the young people in Kirkbymoorside? And
to be honest, I would say that the majority of the young children in this town, or young people in this town, are absolutely spot on. We try and get into the schools, primary schools and Rydale School, and normally have a speak to them before mischief night and Halloween, and just advise them in relation to the behaviour and what's mischief and what's actually criminal damage. And certainly over the last few years, we've noticed that Kirkbymoorside have been far better behaved than Morton and Pickering on mischief night and antisocial behaviour with the children. To be honest, it's very rarely that it gets reported to us. So it's either it's not happening, or people are thinking that it's an acceptable level and they're not reporting. I know there was a bit of a hoo-ha over the bus shelter, where they was wanting to put the bus shelter on the roundabout outside Towlers, and we actually objected to that because we said it would be a place for children to congregate. And I would still say that I wouldn't back down on that, because I know the problems Pickering have had. They put a shelter up in Eastgate car park for the youths, and unfortunately that just ended up as a place for the thuggish use in the area. I don't think we've got that sort of extent of problem in Kirkby, but if we've got a bus shelter where the youths can hang out, it's amazing how far they'll travel. And the other thing is, it's not just because of the youths. My bone of contention would be it's outside the pub, the White Swan, with the no smoking in the premises. I would suggest that on an evening when it's raining and people were in the pub wanting to smoke, they would use the bus shelter then as a smoking place. And certainly I wouldn't want to be living in the vicinity having everybody stood outside there smoking and drinking and laughing.
So Kirkbymoorside, a good place to police. You enjoy your job?
Kirkbymoorside's a lovely place to police. When I look at where I'm policing compared to some of my colleagues, not necessarily, not just York, Scarborough, but when you go further afield to Manchester and that, then I get paid the same to work in Kirkby as they do in the middle of Manchester. I know which one I would rather.
Thanks, Steve.